Howdy Google Ads fans, and welcome back. In this lecture, we're going to go a little bit in detail about that first of 3 steps of creating a campaign with a really good keyword structure, and that is keyword research. Before you plan and before you organize and before you launch your campaigns and before you build out a huge massive account, you really need to start doing some keyword research to understand what keywords are going to be effective, what keywords are going to be most profitable, what keywords will be experimental, what keywords are going to be your low-hanging fruit, bottom of the funnel keywords, and how those keywords are going to interact with search terms, and most importantly, how much you want to bid on each keyword, how much money you're willing to spend on getting clicks for certain keywords, and the anticipated revenue that will be generated from those keywords. And that's all part of what takes place during your keyword research phase. You should really be willing to spend time on keyword research. I think that, in my opinion, in my experience, the one element of campaign building that tends to get ignored the most or given the least attention is keyword research. For some reason, it's like optimizing and looking at attribution models and doing all sorts of different things, building out accounts to be bigger and bigger, where people are not really doing the hard work of researching keywords because it's difficult and it's time consuming, but it's really important. I guarantee you the keywords that you'll come up with off the top of your head that would be good for your campaign are probably about 10% of the keywords that would work. Most people, if you're, let's say we're advertising, like this example for Poppin, we're advertising office chairs. Most people would think that, oh, office chairs, rolling chairs, desk chairs, but people would not necessarily automatically think of how to solve back pain. Right? That might be a keyword. It might be a top of the funnel keyword. You might need to send that traffic to a different landing page, but that's probably a keyword that you could turn a profit on, and you wouldn't think of that until you started doing some keyword research and understanding the buyer funnel. My company runs the digital advertising campaigns for Forbes magazine, and when we took over the account, there were a lot of those bottom of the funnel searches like Forbes magazine, business subscription, things like that, best magazines for business. But when we started experimenting and researching, we saw a lot of search terms that were much more high top of the funnel. People looking for overall business advice, people looking for reading material for traveling. So while those might not be the most intuitive searches, and certainly those searches won't convert as well, but conversion rate is not the only metric. The key metric is profit. So again, we've mentioned this before, those more top of the funnel, what I call peripheral keywords that have less commercial intent for your product are typically less saturated, they're typically less expensive, and we're going to reiterate that point a couple times as we go along. But let's talk about keyword research, what it is, the goals from keyword research, and some tools. And in future lectures, of course, we're going to go and do this in more detail as we build out the account. I'm going to show you how to use each one of these tools in depth, so bear with me. Beginning to understand your industry. That is what really keyword research is all about. You know your industry well. You know your customers. You know your products well. But you might not necessarily know how people search for your products. And that's really what keyword research is all about. While you're researching keywords, you're going to start getting more ideas for ad groups. You're going to start getting more ideas for how to build out your campaign. Those earlier drafts and those diagrams that we spoke about that have your campaign and ad group structure, those might seriously change as you're doing keyword research. And again, putting yourself in your customers' shoes. Being able to understand when a person decides they need your product. What is frustrating them? What questions might they have that they're looking for answers for? That's really what triggers a buying funnel. A person has an issue, they have a need, something frustrates them, there's something in their life that could be improved. They might have heard about a specific solution to that product, now they're researching options, now they're specifically intending to buy something. And at each different stages of that funnel, of the sort of the psychological progression, people search engines and they talk to search engines in different ways. So being able to put yourself in your customer's shoes is part of what keyword research is about. You're going to, again, find all these new ideas that you might not think will be profitable in your campaign, but if you bid properly and you send them to the right content on your website, you could probably find a whole range of keywords. And that's sort of my goal in teaching how to do keyword research better, is not to teach you the most bottom of the funnel keywords. It's not to show you that when we're advertising to sell an office chair, we should use a keyword like cheap office chairs or expensive office chairs or high back office chairs. Those are bottom of the funnel, those are intuitive. Most people can figure those out. But my job is to teach you how to make a profit on keywords like how to solve back pain or understanding lumbar support, right? And figuring out and determining, is that the type of click that I could be profitable? Because will that likely be somebody in my industry, somebody in the market for my product? If so, in how long? If so, how much should I pay for that click? That's keyword research. The goals of keyword research are pretty straightforward. We want to start getting, and this is like concrete stuff. Like before, like all this stuff is sort of psychological, a little bit less concrete, but here's some concrete things that are going to come as a result of keyword research. Volume estimates, okay? For each individual keyword, how many impressions and clicks can I estimate per month, per quarter, per year, per day? Cost estimates. How much will this keyword cost? Again, I want to make a point that all this stuff that we're talking about is moderated by match types. A keyword with an exact match type might have different cost and volume estimates than a keyword with a broad match type. In fact, that will always be the case. We're going to talk about match types in detail, but keep in mind that match types always mediates everything we're talking about. So you're going to get cost estimates of what keywords will cost, what search terms will cost, how many of them you'll get, and get a clearer sense of the buyer's journey. That's another goal, like we mentioned. You're going to start understanding how long does it take for a person to first be introduced or decide they are looking for an answer to this problem. And I have a slide that talks about the buyer's funnel: awareness, interest, desire, action. Every single purchase in the world, same way we talked about the BJ Fogg behavioral model, where like every behavior, B equals MAT, behavior equals motivation, ability to trigger. Every single purchase, you go through the buyer's funnel, and we'll talk about that. So you get a better sense of your buyer's funnel. You know your products, you know your services, but you may not know your entire buyer's funnel. And then a really awesome thing is competitive analysis. As you're doing keyword research, depending on the tool that you're using, if you're using the Google Keyword Planner, if you're using SEMrush, if you're using the competitive analysis script that I alluded to in the beginning of the course, and I have a full lecture on that later on, then you're going to start getting a sense of what your competitors are doing. What keywords are they using to get traffic to their site? And the good competitors, the competitors that you admire, I didn't talk about this specifically, but I have a healthy, this is what I call it. Healthy respect. You should have a healthy respect for the competition. Yes, you should want to demolish them. You should want to leave them in the dust, destroy them, be better than them. But the good competitors have a healthy respect for them. So when you're doing your keyword research, you're going to start seeing which of your competitors are buying this search term or buying this traffic. What ads are they showing for that keyword, and where are they sending that traffic to? Okay, so that's going to be a really, really, really crucial benefit of competitive analysis. Competitive analysis rather will be a really, really good benefit of good keyword research. Some of the tools we're going to go into detail. The Google Keyword Planner. A few years ago, the Google Keyword Planner was a really frustrating tool to use. It wasn't fun, it wasn't that helpful. It's much better now. It's much cooler, it's much sleeker. There's a lot of cool things we could show you, and you're going to be able to get those volume estimates and cost estimates from the Google Keyword Planner. Google Suggestions. At the bottom of a Google search page, Google has suggested searches, related searches, and autocomplete searches. And we're going to talk about each one of those. Those are good ideas to start getting more ideas for both negative keywords and positive keywords. SEMrush, which is a software that I like a lot. It's a paid software. We use this at our agency at a very high level. SpyFu, which is not a software that I personally use, but I have used it in the past. It's a similar software. It's a competitor to SEMrush. It's another one of these online softwares that you pay for, that you start getting some really good insight into keyword research, and most importantly, ask people. This is something that everybody overlooks. Go to your colleagues at work, go to your friends, your siblings, your children, your parents, whatever it may be, and if you're running a campaign for a carpet cleaning service, or you're running a campaign for an educational program, you're running a campaign for a product that you're drop shipping through Shopify or your Amazon store, whatever it may be, just go, bring a computer, go to a sibling or a coworker and say you wanted to buy, and just name your product. Don't give any more information. Do a search on Google for it, okay? Do this 10 times with 10 different people, and you'll be shocked at some of the ways people talk to search engines. Your way of thinking about it is totally biased based on how knowledgeable you are about your products. And that's the case with every single instance I've seen this. When you go and ask people who are not as familiar as you are with your products and your services, and you ask them to search for it on Google, and you don't give them any information, don't lead them down a certain road to a certain search query, you'll see that people use abbreviations, people talk backwards, people write long sentences, sometimes people just write one word, right? It's incredible the information and the insight you can get if you just ask people. And I implore you to do that. It's not easy, it's not really that much fun, and it's time consuming, and you have to sort of get up and interact with other people. I know, not fun, but I'm telling you, it's one of the best ways. In fact, I think this way will uncover more interesting insights than any of the other methods that I've mentioned. And we do this for our clients at our agency. It's like the most untechnological way of doing anything in a digital advertising agency, but it's actually one of the most effective ways. So I highly encourage you to do that. So that's keyword research in a nutshell. In the next lecture, we're going to talk about keyword planning, then we're going to go into keyword organization. We're going to talk about match types in depth, and then we'll start getting back into the account and creating keywords, negative keyword lists. There's a lot to cover when it comes to keywords and how to manage them, how to actually manage them inside a Google Ads account. So I look forward to seeing you guys very soon in the very next lecture.